Oh, Bernard.
Get a big rope. No, not a snack, not a snack. It's a loving board.
It's a loving board.
By the way, did we adopt the
Might be the
rule
toilet's
that people
car.
who come up to speak need to say what their role is, like they're the homeowner, the contractor, architect?
Yeah, Bernard, did we do that? The people that come up to speak.
I proposed it a couple months ago, but I don't know if you guys ever.
How are they,
We did, but we always have the right to ask it.
that's what?
Yeah,
How are
that's
they
one.
affiliated with the
What
project?
representative capacity.
Somebody's
Yeah,
Personal rep?
but
authority is.
adding it to Bernard's speech at the beginning is another thing.
Bernard, you're on.
Bernard's giving a speech.
Good evening. For those of you in the audience who have not attended one of these hearings recently, let me review our normal procedure. Staff will introduce each item for consideration. If you'd like to speak, please fill out the speaker form located on the table in the lobby and indicate the item number and whether you are for or against the item. And please give the form to the clerk seated on my left. The applicant and supporters will be heard first. Those in opposition to the request will be heard next. Then the applicant may be given a chance for rebuttal if necessary. Comments should be restricted to pertinent information regarding the agenda item under discussion. If you're an individual, you will have 3 minutes for comments. If you're speaking on behalf of a group, you will have 6 minutes for comments. Speakers should move closer to the podium when their item is being presented by staff. Speakers should identify themselves clearly for the record by stating their name and address. And if you are a representative for the applicant, the board is asking that you identify your status, whether you're a contractor, family member, or whatever the case may be. Each speaker should be given respectful and courteous attention. The board may ask questions of speakers or staff members. Information such as pictures, site plans, letters, etc., presented at a public hearing will be kept as part of the public record. If you have something on your cell phone you would like to show us, you have to promise to send the information to county staff afterwards. Otherwise, they have to keep your cell phone. I would then ask for a motion from the board. Once the motion has been made and seconded, discussion will be closed to the floor. Following board discussion, a vote will be taken. During voting, board members who do not cast objecting votes are considered to have voted in support of the motion. Any person aggrieved by any decision of the Board of Adjustment may, within 15 days, file an appeal to the Board of County Commissioners through the Planning and Development Division of the Development Services Department. Okay, we're ready for our first item.
Good evening. For the record, Hillary Payton, Planning and Development. Item number 1 is a continued variance for 995 Tuscaloosa Road, located in the Winter Springs subdivision. The request is for a side street setback reduction from 35 feet to 0 feet for a privacy fence in the RC1 zoning district. The subject property is a corner lot and has two front yards for setback purposes. The front of the house faces Tuscaloosa Road. The undeveloped Citrus Road side is where the variance is being sought. The request is to construct a fence entirely within the south side street setback along the undeveloped paper road. The proposed privacy fence encroaches into a 7-foot utility easement, and building permitting will be required to meet the criteria for placement with an estoppel letter. Traffic engineering has no objection to the placement of the fence as it relates to site visibility. This concludes my presentation. I'm available for any questions.
Okay, so I just want to make sure. The roads doesn't exist really except on paper, and there's no plans that we know of to develop the road.
Correct.
Okay. Any questions for staff?
Yes,
Yes, sir.
question for staff. The house, the property directly to the south of the subject property right here, address is 1063 Chesterfield Circle. Is there a setback variance on record for that property? It looks like their fence is right up against the edge of the right-of-way.
The only variance that I found was for 1080 Dyson Drive. I did not find any additional.
Okay. Thank you.
Any other questions for staff?
What, I can look it up while you're doing the discussion. Is it the lot that's fronting Tuscaloosa or the lot that is fronting the paper road?
Fronting the paper road.
Okay.
1063 Chesterfield Circle is the address. Thank you.
Give me a second if you guys want to.
We'll get you your answer. Okay, any other questions? Okay, is the applicant present? Is the applicant present?
He said yes.
Oh. Okay, is there any, sir, is there anything you'd like to add to the presentation by staff?
No, he does
He doesn't, okay. Do we have any questions for the applicant, anyone? No. Okay. Is there anyone to speak in support of the request? Is there anyone to speak in opposition to the request? Okay, we're ready for a motion while we wait on our answer.
I'd move to approve.
A second.
Okay, we have a motion, we have a second, any discussion?
The only concern I had was where it said there was a road, and I didn't see it in the picture, but you answered the question that there won't be a road there now, because I was concerned of the hazard of being up to the
Right.
road, so.
I'm with you, I'm not much for 0 feet on a road. Okay, we'll give it one moment before we vote to get your answer.
The lot that he inquired does not have a variance.
Okay. All right, thank you.
Okay, thank you.
All right, we have a motion and a second in support of the request. No discussion. All in favor of the motion, say aye. Aye. All opposed? Motion carries, it's approved. It's approved, sir. Good luck. All right, next item.
Item number 2 is a continued variance request for 1337 Franklin Street, located in the San Lando subdivision. The request is for a rear yard setback reduction from 30 feet to 10 feet for an accessory structure in the R1AA zoning district. The request is to construct a 24-foot by 20-foot carport to be used as shade over an existing patio, encroaching 20 feet into the required 30-foot rear yard setback. A letter of support has been received from an adjacent neighbor. This concludes my presentation. I'm available for any questions.
Okay, any questions for staff? Okay, is the applicant present? Sir, is there anything you would like to add to staff comments? If so, I need you to come forward.
No, sir.
Any questions for the applicant? Okay. Is there anyone to speak in support of the request? Is there anyone to speak in opposition to the request? Do we have a motion?
Move to approve.
Second.
Motion approved, second. Any discussion? All in favor of the motion, say aye. Aye. All opposed? Motion carries. It's approved. Good luck.
Thank you, guys.
All right, next item.
For the record, Angie Gates, planner with Planning and Development. Item number 3 is a request for 1, a wall sign from one sign to 2 signs for EOS Fitness, and 2, a maximum allowable copy area variance from 30 square feet to 280.66 square feet for a sign in the C2 Retail Commercial District located at 345 State Road 436. The subject property is in the Oxford Place Overlay District, which was adopted on December 11, 2018, prior to the construction of the plaza on the subject property. The first request is to construct 2 wall signs for EOS Fitness within the Oxford Place Overlay requirement of 1 wall sign per tenant. The second request is for the subject property to increase the allowable wall sign requirement from 30 square feet per tenant for a total of 140.33 square feet for 2 signs totaling 280.66 square feet. The EOS Fitness building frontage is approximately 700 feet away from the main right-of-way. The applicant intends to stay within the county's current sign code standards, which allows a maximum copy area of 2 square feet for each lineal foot of building frontage, allowing them 330.2 square feet of total copy area. A variance request for the neighboring Floor Decor and Decor was approved for 1 wall signs from 1 sign to 5 signs for Floor and Decor, and 2 wall sign total area from 90 square feet to 634.97 square feet. Based on the stated findings, staff recommends approval of the request. Based upon the foregoing findings, the requested variance is in the public interest, and failure to grant the variance would result in an unnecessary and undue hardship. This concludes my presentation. Should you have any other questions, I'd be happy to answer.
Mr. Chair,
Yes.
we had this, 2 months ago in front of us?
September 25th.
3 months ago.
Incorrect. We did, but there was, the motion went back and forth several times, and it was a failed to have a motion, and because of that, we didn't have a clear decision that was made, so they have to come back to the Board of Adjustment.
Is there any adjustment from what, because the staff recommended non-compliant, or was recommended against it last about 2 or 3 months ago, I believe, no?
No.
Okay.
It's always recommended approval.
So has anything changed from when we heard it last?
Nothing.
Nothing.
Okay, thank you.
And was the last one was it, you're saying there's no motion, or did the motion fail for lack of a second?
It was how it was done, it was a lack of a second, but it's still a decision or a motion wasn't made. Because I think what the board thought is that because it didn't a decision wasn't, it didn't have the support, then that meant that it failed, but we still had to make another motion.
A yes or a no?
Yeah.
Okay.
What happened was, in attendance that month was yourself, Jim, Austin, and myself. I moved to approve, there was no second, and you were not allowed to second. Austin moved to deny, I did not second, and again, you were not allowed to second, so we were kind of deadlocked at that point. We could not proceed on that agenda item.
Okay.
And we only had 3 board members in attendance. We had a quorum, but there was only 3, so that's why that happened.
Does the county attorney's office agree with that?
Actually, you can second. Chair, we dealt with that about a year
We
ago.
consulted with the county attorney's office to review the tape to make sure that it was, if it followed, and they said, yes, we need to hear the item again.
For the record, Paul Chipok, Deputy County Attorney. Yes, we agree with that. In the nature of a de facto denial, you have a motion, but you can't reach a vote on the motion. In this situation, you never reached the motion, so there was never any official action by the board on this application.
Okay.
And just to confirm, but I'm sure what the chair had said is correct, the chair can second. In our rules of procedure, we would allow that.
I asked a question, it was over a year ago, is there any prohibition against the chair making a motion or seconded it? And it was researched and came back and said, no, I could. I have chosen not to do it as long as we had enough members to do it.
Okay. If that was the conclusion, then yes. You do not have specific rules of procedure that you've drafted yourself. The Planning and Zoning Commission has done that for themselves, but you're just relying on general rules of procedure. You don't have anything specific to this board, so the issue of the chairman voting, like you said, if the research came back that it allows you to do so, you can do so.
There was nothing that prohibited it. It was
Correct.
allowable by Robert's rules.
Correct.
Good enough.
Thank you.
And I,
Holding out on this.
in the Wayback Machine, the one next door that we approved the 5 signs and the increase in footage because it was so far off the road that you couldn't see the signs at the county side. So that's why I remember that. That's been a couple years ago, I think. I'm getting old. Okay, any questions for staff? Is the applicant present? Sir, is there anything you would like to add? Oh, come on up. Please state your name and address. Yes, sir, please state your name and address.
Yes, thanks you. My name is Mark Brenchley. I live in Claremont. My address is 3790 Beacon Ridge Way. And I was here to make the presentation in September. And because there was so much confusion, I filed an appeal to the Board of County Commission and was informed by planning staff that the attorney's office said that this needs to be reheard again because of inadequate decision-making on the part of the board at that time. So that's why I'm here again.
Okay.
So I'd like to show you this aerial map taken from the Seminole County Property Appraisers map, which shows the EOS building on the bottom of the screen in red. And you can see that, as was mentioned, it is over 700 feet from State Route 436 and about 250 feet from Oxford Road, which is on the left. The dark outline of this very irregular piece of property. Can I speak into this? I wanted to show you this very
That-
irregular lot.
That one doesn't work, so you're going to have to talk in the other one.
It's working.
Is it working now?
Yeah, it's working.
Okay.
Thank you. You can see this, let me follow this very irregular lot as it comes up then to 436, then goes back south toward the building. There is a right or extension of property out to Oxford Road. It comes back, skirts around this existing out parcel, returns to Oxford Road, and then goes to the point of beginning. The fact that this property is touching Oxford Road makes it subject to the Oxford Place requirements, which is one sign, 30 square feet maximum. But all the other buildings right next to it, as was mentioned, got a variance. Oh, and if this frontage was not facing, or the building was not under the regulations of the Oxford Place description, this would allow over 230 feet of sign area because it faces 436 and it's in a regular commercial zone. As the store next to it, the floors and, what is it, floor and decor, thank you. And it was mentioned they got a variance to allow them, instead of one sign, 5 or 6 signs totaling over 500 square feet. So this property is really at a disadvantage. This is a perfect example for the need for a variance because of the restrictions placed upon it by the Oxford Road special improvement requirements. But it really doesn't face Oxford Road. The primary elevation faces north and east to 436, but it is penalized because the irregular lot faces Oxford Road. So this is clearly a ripe application to address the inequities and the hardships imposed upon this particular unique site because of its irregular building and irregular lot shape. And do I have any questions?
Any questions for the applicant? All right. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
All right. Is there anyone else to speak in support of the request? Is there anyone to speak in opposition to the request? Do we have a motion?
Mr. Chair.
Motion to approve. Do we
Motion
have a
to
second?
approve.
Second.
We have a second. Any discussion? All in favor of the motion to approve, say aye. Aye. All opposed? Motion carries. It's approved. Good luck, sir. All right, next item.
Item number 4 is for 5 variances. The first request is for a front yard setback variance from 50 feet to 25 feet. The second variance is for a side yard west setback variance from 10 feet to 7.5 feet. The third variance is for a side yard east setback variance from 10 feet to 7.5 feet. And the fourth variance is a width at building line from 150 feet to 44 feet. And 5 is for a lot size variance from 1 acre to 6,160 square feet for a single-family dwelling in the A1 agriculture district. The parcel is a legal parcel of record that predated the subdivision regulations. The lot is with the community development target area called Midway, designated by Seminole County in order to promote new housing opportunities, improvement housing and rehabilitation for public service activities. The proposed single-family residence will be approximately 1,194 square feet and will encroach 25 feet into the required front yard setback and 2.5 feet into the required west and east side yard setbacks. There have not been any prior variances for the subject property, but there have been 4 variances, similar variants such as this, for surrounding lots. This concludes my presentation.
Any questions for staff? I know we've had a number of these in that area. Okay, is the applicant present? Is there anything you would like to add to staff comments? Okay, is there any questions for the applicant? Okay, is there anyone to speak in support of the request? Is there anyone to speak in opposition to the request? Do we have a motion?
Mr. Chair, oh, you got me.
Second. Motion to approve, we have a second. Any discussion? All in favor of the motion, say aye. Aye. All opposed? Motion carries, it's approved. Good luck to you. All right, next item.
Okay, items number 5 and 6 are going to be presented together since it's a shared boat dock. However, we do need 2 separate motions for each one. So to start off, the request is for side yard south setback variance from 10 feet to 0 feet for a boat dock in the R1 Single Family Dwelling District located at 325 Brantley Club Place. And the second property is for a side yard north setback variance located at 333 Brantley Club Place. The boat dock that is shared by lots 10 and 11 received building permits in 1987 and 1989. The new shared boat dock will be approximately 964 square feet and will encroach 10 feet into the required side yard south setback and north setback. A dredge and fill permit was also approved for lots 10 and 11 under permit DF 87-14. There were no prior variances found for the subject property or the surrounding properties for variances. Like I said, we found building permits from 1986 and dredge and fill permits, but we couldn't find anything related to a variance. And that concludes my presentation.
Okay, any questions for staff? Is the applicant for 325 present?
Sir, if I may,
Are you representing both?
Yes, sir.
Oh, well, come on down. And you're the attorney?
I am, sir.
Okay.
I play kind of an interesting role in this case. I'm also the next-door neighbor. So,
All right.
as odd as that may be, my name is Hans Kennan. I live at 341 Brantley Club Place. The MO drawing. I just wrote on this one, I'm in property 12. That is our existing shared boat dock between property 12 and property 13. I'm to the south with my neighbors, the Taylors and the Reefstacks, between 10 and 11. Our position is that, and you can see from what's X'd out, what you can see is that what I've X'd out on the diagram is the part that actually is being removed from the proposed dock that's going to go in. So we're actually taking out square footage. The diagram that was provided to me by the Taylors that I've also highlighted in red, that would be potentially an additional walkway being added to the property. Obviously, the one above is the one that is currently split and shared between lots 10 and 11. So from a prepared comment perspective, again, my home is directly south of my 2 neighbors, so to the extent the setbacks would have any impact, I guess they would impact me. I'm still in favor of that variance. Now, variances typically, we all know, say, we want to do something bigger, we want to do something better, something more expansive, I want to build the Taj Mahal on my boat dock, and everyone should agree to that. This is kind of a rare case where actually they're trying to make something smaller. We're trying to limit the footprint, not expand the footprint. This is really a status quo issue for my neighbors and even for me, since I live next door. They don't want 2 walkways. They want 1 walkway that they've always had. It's been there since, I guess, potentially the late 80s. So we're not sure why we'd have to actually add a walkway in. From an environmental impact perspective, we would think the board would want to limit new construction and adding a second walkway into an area that really doesn't need one. And again, the variance would also include the shrinking the dock space and the deck space down to limit that imprint. Getting rid of the, not putting in the second walkway and putting in those other, and taking out the other deck area improves water flow, improves everything about the area that the three of us live in. Mosquitoes, everything else. When you put more things in, the water tends to be more stagnant. We'd hate to have that occur. From a visibility perspective, you add an additional walkway and everything else that impedes the visual nature of the lake for myself, my next-door neighbor, and all of us who go around essentially this cul-de-sac there. And also, we don't think you want to put more building materials into the channel. We're asking to put less in, not have a new walkway, and remove that from the channel. Also, we have a lot of birds. We have egrets and cranes that kind of live in that area. Adding that additional walkway, again, impedes their kind of free access of traveling through that area. This is a status quo issue that has no negative impact. Again, we're looking to shrink the footprint down as opposed to increase it. It'll minimize the visual obstructions of the lake and the channel itself and limit the environmental impact. Again, as a neighbor, I'm probably the person most affected by it. I request the board grant the variance, allow the dock to be rebuilt with the reduced square footage, lessen the environmental impact, and retain the visibility we currently have. Thank you.
Okay. Any questions for the applicant's representative? Yes, sir, Mr. Howard.
What's listed as Tract A directly to the east,
Yes, sir.
do you know who owns that parcel?
Our homeowners association does, sir.
So it's common area?
Yes, sir. It happens to be a tennis court, but yes, sir, it is otherwise common area.
I mean, all right, that answers my question. All right, fine, thank you.
And yeah, there's no houses across from
Yeah.
any of our houses. It's all our common area and the tennis courts on the other side.
Gotcha.
So, and it doesn't impact the depth of the dock does not impede more of the channel than it did before. It'd be the same setback.
Gotcha, thank you.
Okay, yes, sir.
Any other questions?
Yeah,
Yes, sir.
I've been sitting on the board for a couple of years now, and I have to say, we usually ask how are the neighbors, but you all are here. How do they feel? So this is the easiest one we've ever had to deal with, so I'm just saying.
Oh, good. That's what we hope.
We can gather no opposition
Yeah,
from the south.
yes, sir, Mr. Chair, that is correct, so.
It was an odd role. He's like, can you represent us? I'm like, yeah, I'm the neighbor too, but yeah, sure.
Okay, any other questions?
I would like to note that technically, neither neighbor wrote letters in support of each other's application. So how can we know?
Oh, man.
Nice. All right, thank you, sir.
Yes, sir. Thank you, gentlemen.
Is there anyone else to speak in support of the request?
Hi, my name is Sheila Sickraz, Streamline Permitting, 1002 Fort Mason Drive. I just wanted to note the only item on the criteria that staff didn't think that we, that we followed, or that there was no reason for her to believe that criteria was met. But I have a little bit of an argument for that. The Land Development Code is to maintain consistent setbacks. We want to keep the same setback that's been there for 40 years. And this is one of 3 shared docks on that same lake that all have the 0 side setbacks. And you said that approving the variance is not in the public interest, but this particular one is. It helps the neighbors and anybody in that little cove area. And would not result in an unnecessary and undue hardship. Kind of would, because it's going to require more construction and separate terminal platforms, and that, I believe, is a little bit of a hardship. That's all. Any
Thank you.
questions for me?
Anyone else to speak in support of the request? Is there anyone to speak in opposition to the request? Do we have a motion?
Mr. Chair?
We're going to take 325 first.
That's where I was going, yep. So I'd like to make a motion to approve 325 Brantley Club Place first.
Okay, do we have a second?
Second.
Second. Any discussion? All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. 325 is approved. Now, we have a motion for 333.
Would you like to share that one, sir?
Mr. Chair, motion to approve for 333.
Not right.
Do we have a second? We have a motion.
Second.
Okay, any discussion? All in favor of the motion, say aye. Aye. All opposed, motion carries, it's approved. Both sides. Good luck to you. Happy building. Okay, next item?
Item number 7 is a request for a side street west setback variance from 15 feet to 5 feet for a fence in the PD Plan Development District in the estuary at St. John's subdivision located at 4517 Loudmere Way. The subject property is a corner lot considered to have 2 front yards for setback purposes. The front of the house faces Loudmere Way, and the Swinton Court side is where the variance is being sought. Traffic engineering has no objection to the placement of the fence as it relates to site visibility. The proposed privacy fence will be 5 feet from the sidewalk and 17 feet from the edge of pavement. There have not been any prior variances for the subject property, but there have been 7 corner lot variances approved in the subdivision. Lots 1, 21, 29, 30, 34, 37, and 50. As a copy of the plat highlighted in yellow is in your staff report, and this concludes my presentation.
The ones that have been approved, did you get a general sense of what the variances were approved at approximately?
Let's see. Oh, here it is. So, Lot 21 was approved for 12 feet. Lot 1 was approved for 5 feet. Lot 29 was approved for 5 feet, 30, 10 feet, 34, 9 feet, 37, 10 feet, and 50, 8 feet.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Any questions for staff?
Yes, those variances were granted by this board?
Yes. Well, through different year, 21, 22, the subdivision's fairly new,
Okay.
and 23.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Okay, is the applicant present? Is there anything you would like to add to staff comments? No. Do we have any questions for the applicant? No. Okay. Is there anyone to speak in support of the request? Is there anyone to speak in opposition to the request? Do we have a motion?
Move to approve, Mr. Chair.
Motion approved. We have a second.
Second.
Do we have any discussion?
Yeah. 5 feet distance from the sidewalk it meets the closest fence that has already been approved by this board in the past in this neighborhood. So granting the variance for 5 feet from the sidewalk would not break any precedent for what we've already granted in the past, so I don't see how it would be fair for us to not grant it in this case.
Okay. Any other discussion? All right. All in favor of the motion, say aye. Aye. All opposed? Motion carries. It's approved. Good luck. All right, next item?
The next item is a request for a side yard north setback variance from 10 feet to 4 feet to convert an existing shed into a wine room in the R1AA Single Family Dwelling District located at 2800 Goldenrod Drive. The existing attached storage shed is approximately 131 square feet and encroaches 6 feet into the required side yard setback. In 2014, a code violation was issued for unpermitted interior renovations by previous owner, not the current owner, excuse me. And it's attached as an exhibit to show that at the time, the CMU wing walls were existing, open and not enclosed. And at some point after this permit was inspected, the area became enclosed and used for storage. There have not been any prior variances for the subject property, and this concludes my presentation.
Okay, so the current owner did not cause the
Correct.
violation. Gotcha. Yes, sir.
But are you saying that there is currently an open code enforcement action?
No, it's been closed,
Oh,
but
okay.
in 2014, I just wanted to reference that because it is in your agenda package to show that that area was open in 2014 and at some point
I
became
misheard that.
closed.
Thank you.
Yeah,
I'm
yep, no
sorry.
problem.
Any questions for staff?
Yes, but the information provided didn't specifically say that the enclosure of the wing walls and creation of the shed or wine room, whatever it is.
That's the exact location where those wing walls are.
Right, but the enclosure is, it's what changes what the wing walls were just an architectural feature to an actual
Yes,
usable space.
Correct.
That's treated differently.
correct.
And that happened sometime between 2014 and now.
Yes.
So do we know, well, I guess we'll ask the homeowner, but specifically, do we know if that enclosure was done by the previous owner or by this owner?
That I can't answer.
Okay, I think
And
it
I'm
will be
sorry,
answered in 5 minutes.
in my staff
Okay.
report, I meant to tell you also, I did say that there were no prior variances but for this property, but there were.
Okay.
There were a couple variances that were approved for this property, but not on the other side of the property, not for this particular
Okay.
item.
Okay. Good, sir?
I'm good, thank you.
Any other questions for staff? Applicants present, could you come down? I know they have at least one question for you.
He's not carrying wine.
No. Please state your name and
My name
address.
is James Hunt. I live at 2800 Goldenrod Drive, and we did not do the extension that was there when we bought the home in 2020. It's a very old home. It was redone between 2015 and 2017, I believe, and the previous owner lived in it for several years. We bought it in 2020.
Thank you.
Okay. Any other questions for the applicant?
Yes, I have another question.
Sorry.
You are encroaching, well, your shed, your structure encroaches very closely onto your northern property line. Have you got the opinion of your neighbor on that side?
We had the sign out for the required time, sir, and the neighbor, in the last variance we made, they came to us and they said, I don't know what this variance is for, but you can do whatever you want. We have fairly high hedges on each side of the property. They're very private properties, and we've never had any issue between either of the neighbors on the north side or the south side.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other questions for the applicant? All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Is there anyone to speak in support of the request? Is there anyone to speak in opposition to the request? Do we have a motion?
Move to approve.
Motion approved. Do we have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. It's approved, sir. And I think it's brilliant, because if I decide to drink at home, my wife's going to throw me into my shed. Might as well turn it into a place.
Thank you very much. And Mr. Chairman, members, we'd just like to appreciate the staff for helping us get through this process. It's very-
We do have great staff.
We do.
They are excellent.
Amazing.
Okay, next item.
Item number 9 is a variance request for 1626 Bobolink Lane, located in the Deer Run subdivision. The request is for a south side street setback reduction from 20 feet to 18 feet for 2 privacy fences in the general homes plan development. The subject property is a corner lot and has 2 front yards for setback purposes. The front of the house faces Bobolink Lane. The Wild Fox Drive side is where the variance is being sought. The request is to construct 2 privacy fences in the required side street setback. The first is a 4-foot privacy fence, and the second is a 6-foot privacy fence. Traffic engineering has no objection to the placement of the fence as it relates to site visibility. The proposed privacy fence encroaches into a utility easement, and at building permitting will be required to meet the criteria for placement with an estoppel letter. The proposed privacy fences are 18 feet from the sidewalk and 28 feet from the edge of pavement. This concludes my presentation. I'm available for any questions.
Any questions for staff?
I have one.
Yes.
Area surroundings, have we had anything else around the surrounding neighborhoods?
Yes, we have.
Approved?
You ready?
Just yes or no, that's fine.
Oh, yes.
It's all good. Sorry to
I made
burst
a whole list
sorry to burst
for
your
you.
bubble, but that's fine. When you're winding up like that, just a yes or no is fine, so.
All right, well, I tried. Yes, they range from 3 feet to 13 feet
Thank you.
over the last 10 years.
I appreciate you.
You know, I try.
Any other questions for staff? Is the applicant present?
Yes, sir.
Sir, if you come down, I have one question for you. I'll be quick, though, I promise.
That's all right. I can run faster than you can.
Please state your name and address.
Jeremy Shapiro, 1626 Bobolink Lane.
Jeremy, I got a question.
Yes.
Now, these fences aren't constructed yet, right?
No.
So why not just place them at 20 feet and skip the variance? Why the 2 feet?
It's to allow on that rear side that faces towards the road to add a gate on that side of the fence, because right now with the current setback, it doesn't provide enough space to
So
put
you need 2 feet for a gate?
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay. I just wanted, it's a small variance, that's why I asked.
Yeah, really small. It's just to give our dog more space in the backyard.
Okay. All right, any questions for the applicant? All right, thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Anyone to speak in support of the request? Is there anyone to speak in opposition to the request? Do we have a motion?
Move to approve, Mr. Chair.
Second.
Motion to approve, and we have a second. Any discussion? All in favor of the motion, say aye. Aye. All opposed? Motion carries. It's approved. Good luck to you. Merry Christmas. All right, next item?
Item number 10 is a variance request for 3832 Swan Falls Terrace, located in the preserve at Riverbend subdivision. The request is for a south side street setback reduction from 20 feet to 14 and a half feet for a privacy fence in the Cameron Heights plan development. The subject property is a corner lot and has 2 front yards for setback purposes. The front of the house faces west on Swan Falls Terrace. The south side facing Swan Falls Terrace is where the variance is being sought. The request is to construct a 6-foot vinyl privacy fence, 5.5 feet into the required 20-foot side street setback. Traffic engineering has no objection to the placement of the fence as it relates to site visibility. The proposed privacy fence encroaches into a drainage easement, and that building permitting will be required to meet the criteria for placement with an estoppel letter. The proposed privacy fence is 14.5 feet from the sidewalk and 26.5 feet from the edge of pavement. This concludes my presentation. I'm available for any questions.
Any questions for staff?
This, it looks like this is new construction?
Right.
Okay. And any, you don't want to ask, just yes or no?
No.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, any other questions for staff? Is the applicant present? Is there anything you would like to add to comments? Come on down. Please state your name and address.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Raquel Velez, and I live at 3832 Swan Falls Terrace. The property is newer. I moved in, well, it started, I guess, in 2021, because I moved in 2022. The only thing I wanted to add was that I did check with my neighbors on the north side, so we'll be sharing that fence, and in the back of the property, and also in the front of the property. And they did, I discussed with them the reason for the variance, and they did not have any objections.
Okay. Any questions for the applicant?
I noticed that you have your mother cut the grass. Do you pay her minimum wage?
And she cooks, so.
I get one of those.
So she definitely doesn't have any objection to it. Yeah.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Is there anyone to speak in support of the request? Is there anyone to speak in opposition to the request? Okay, do we have a motion?
Move to approve, Mr. Chair.
Motion approved, we have a second?
Second.
Second, any discussion? All in favor of the motion, say aye. Aye. All opposed? Motion's approved.
Thank you.
Good luck.
Happy holidays.
You too.
Can we put a tag on that you give her mother a raise?
Yes. Double what you're paying her now. Okay, next item.
Item number 11 is a variance request for 1170 Franklin Tree Lane located in the Bartram's Landing subdivision. The request is for a north side street setback reduction from 15 feet to 5 feet for a privacy fence in the Bartram's Landing at St. John's Plan Development. The subject property is a corner lot and has 2 front yards for setback purposes. The front of the house faces Franklin Tree Lane. The Mendon Hall Place side is where the variance is being sought. The request is to construct a 6-foot vinyl privacy fence 10 feet into the required 15-foot side street setback. The side street that the property abuts is a hammerhead dead end and not a typical thoroughway. Traffic engineering has no objection to the placement of the fence as it relates to site visibility. The proposed privacy fence encroaches into a utility, drainage, and wall easement, and that building permitting will be required to meet the criteria for placement within a stop letter. The proposed privacy fence is 5 feet from the sidewalk and 17 feet from the edge of pavement. This concludes my presentation. I'm available for any questions.
Okay, any questions for staff? Yes,
Question.
sir.
Are there any other?
No.
Okay.
I didn't ask this time.
You didn't volunteer, so.
I'm just saying, no.
They're working together.
I see.
Okay. Is the applicant present? Is there anything you would like to add? No. Okay, are there any questions for the applicant? Okay, is there anyone to speak in support of the request? Is there anyone to speak in opposition to the request? Do we have a motion?
I had a question.
Yes, sir.
Because he states in his application that the windows are in the back as shown in the picture, but this looks like the front of the house. So is there another view? Am I missing
You see
something?
maybe on the bottom of the aerial there?
Oh, I didn't have that picture in my,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
Okay, I got you. So we're talking about the windows at the very bottom of the cream-colored roof there. Okay, thank you.
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
Motion to approve, Mr. Chair.
Motion to approve? All right, do we have a second?
Second.
Second. Do we have any discussion? Okay, all in favor of the motion to approve, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion is approved. Enjoy your fence. All right, next item?
Item number 12 is 2 variance requests for 889 Cutler Drive located in the Cutler Cove subdivision. The first request is for a front yard setback reduction from 25 feet to 20 feet for a single-family residence, and the second is for a rear yard setback reduction from 30 feet to 11.5 feet for a swimming pool in the R1A zoning district. The first request is to replace the existing home with a 4,573 square foot single-family residence, 5 feet into the required 25-foot front yard setback. The second request is to replace the existing swimming pool with a 16-foot by 41-foot swimming pool, 18.5 feet into the 30-foot rear yard setback. A letter of support was received from the affected neighbor on the north supporting the front yard setback variance. This concludes my presentation. I'm available for any questions.
Any questions for staff? Okay, is the applicant present? Is there anything you would like to add?
Yeah, I've got a,
Okay. Come state your name and address first, please.
I'm actually representing the applicant, or I'm the applicant representing the owners.
Okay.
My name's William Green. The owners of the Perez's are here this evening. So I just wanted to add a couple of things that might clear this up a little better. And I'm a building contractor. So the front is basically as she stated, and so is the rear. What I wanted to point out is the pool that is existing there is highlighted in yellow, and then the green is basically showing the outline of the new pool. It's basically squaring off the old pool. It's just by the time we would renovate it and do that, it's more cost effective just to put the new pool in, demo what's there and put a new one in. So basically we're asking for the pool to go in the same place it is currently, and then the front setback is as she stated.
All right, any questions for the applicant's representative?
Yes.
Yes.
Question, well, I guess this one has to be answered by the homeowners themselves. I see the letter of support from the neighbor signed by Colette Davis.
Yes.
By any chance, was Colette Davis, is she or was she a teacher?
I have no idea.
I think the neighbor was my high school chemistry teacher.
Well, unless you're a painter, you're good.
Bringing back to those days.
Yep.
Okay.
Tell her I said hi, please.
Okay, I will.
All right, any other questions? Thank you. Is there anyone to speak in support of the request? Is there anyone to speak in opposition to the request? Okay, do we have a motion?
Mr. Chair, move to approve.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Second, any discussion? All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries, it's approved. Good luck. All right, next item.
Item number 13 is a variance request for 102 Ford Avenue. This is being continued to the January 22nd, 2024 Board Adjustment meeting.
Is the next one as well, which is 101?
No,
or-
that one's going to be
That one's still
heard.
going forward?
Yes.
Okay.
Item number 14 is a variance request for 101 Ford Avenue, located in the Harmony Home subdivision. The request is for a west side street setback reduction from 25 feet to 0 feet for a privacy fence in the R3 zoning district. The subject property is a corner lot and has 2 front yards for setback purposes. The front of the house faces Ford Avenue. The DeSoto Avenue side is where the variance is being sought. The request is to bring into compliance the construction of a 6-foot wood privacy fence entirely in the required 25-foot side street setback. Traffic engineering has no objection to the placement of the fence as it relates to site visibility. The privacy fence is 4 feet 8 inches from the sidewalk and 18 feet from the edge of pavement. A code enforcement violation, number 23-225, was issued for this structure, resulting in the necessity of this variance. This concludes my presentation. I'm available for any questions.
Any questions for staff? Yes, sir.
Just pure idle curiosity, how did it come about that these two particular parcels across from each other suddenly got tagged for a code enforcement violation? Do we know there's neighborhood narcs or, oh, there's a story, well, here, okay, gotcha. All right, that's my question.
Any other questions
Somebody's a
for
witness
staff?
protection, I don't know.
That happened.
All right, is the applicant present? Would you state your name and address, please?
My name is Alexis Green. I'm the applicant and homeowner at 101 Ford Avenue, Altamont Springs, 32701.
Okay.
So the story is, we bought the house in June. We're new homeowners. The first thing we did with the house was replace that fence because it was in poor repair. Not having any clue really about permitting and stuff, we just thought we were improving the property by replacing the fence. That happened in mid-July. A few weeks down the road, we had a shed installed. And the people who did the shed were like, you really need a permit for these kinds of things. And we were like, okay. So then when the guy came to inspect the shed, after the shed was put in, he was like, this fence looks new, here's your violation. He looked around the neighborhood and gave 2 more people violations, so I don't think our neighbors like us very much right now.
And we'll be seeing them
But
soon.
that's the story.
So you're the narcs.
We didn't mean to be. But if I could just say a word in defense of my fence, if you look down DeSoto Avenue, which is the street in the picture, it's a very old neighborhood, and most of the residents on that street have a fence. Some are chain link, some are wood, but they're all the same distance from the street. So I think in terms of the variance criteria, I don't think we're asking for a special privilege. I think the fence we have looks in keeping with the neighborhood. It's the same distance from the street as the other fences. I think it fits into the structure and the aesthetic of our neighborhood. And I think it's an improvement on the old fence. So that's what I have to say.
Okay, any questions for the applicant? Yes, sir.
And I'm sorry if you said this and I missed it. The fence, the new fence is just in the same location as the old fence?
Yes, we did not, we had the front fence removed, so there's no fence in the front yard, but the backyard fence, yes, same spot.
Gotcha, thank you, ma'am.
Yep.
And yes, out of curiosity, I did drive the neighborhood, because I did notice that you said that the placement and style of the fence is the same as other existing fences in the neighborhood. And in your immediate neighborhood, at least, the only other parcel I noticed, that has a wood fence like yours and then you said there were two. But the only one I saw was the one directly across the street from you, and we're going to be hearing them next month. Everyone else has, like what your parcel used to have, those low-rise, decrepit chain link fences that might have been put originally back when the houses were built in the 60s. So who else in your neighborhood has a contemporary-style 6-foot-tall wood fence?
There is a 6-foot fence in the backyard of the property at DeSoto and Magnolia, further down north on the street. It's so covered in vines, it's hard to tell that it is a wooden fence, but it is a wooden fence. It's 6 feet in the backyard, and they are at the stop sign at DeSoto and Magnolia.
Just for FYI, since, I know we're going to be asked, 204 Magnolia has a variance from 2014 to 27 inches.
All right. I appreciate the knowing that, thank you.
You're welcome.
Any other questions for the applicant? Good. All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Is there anyone to speak in support of the request? Is there anyone to speak in opposition to the request? We have a motion.
Move to approve.
Motion to approve. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a second. Any discussion? All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. It's approved. Good luck. All right, next item.
Item number 15 is a variance request for parcel 7A on Cloverdale Terrace. The request is for a minimum lot size variance from 5 acres to 1 acre in the A5 zoning district. The request is to bring into compliance a 1-acre parcel that was split off prior to the adoption of the comprehensive plan in 1991, establishing the 5-acre rural zoning, rendering this parcel nonconforming. This concludes my presentation. I'll be available for any questions.
Okay. Any questions for staff? All right, is the applicant present? Is there anything you would like to add?
I guess,
Come on down. Please state your name and address.
my name's Michelle Gordon, and my address is 3720 Marion Avenue, Geneva, Florida. I represent Mr. Greer, and I would like to just point out on this road where this parcel is located, south of this parcel, and it's parcel number 21 2032 300 0070 0000, which is, the address is 124 Cloverdale. There's a home that sits on 0.93 of an acre. And then north of this subject property is, it sits on 3.31 acres, and and there's a home on that property. And the address, you want the address and parcel number?
It's 415 West State Road 46.
And that conducts what I have to say, and I think that's all I have to say.
All right, any questions? Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Is there anyone to speak in support of the request? Is there anyone to speak in opposition to the request? You want to speak?
Yes.
You have to.
My name is Kimberly Middleton, and I reside at 415 West State Road 46 in Geneva, Florida, 32732. We are up front. That property is landlocked due to the fact that we brought the property from the owner behind us, so we weren't landlocked. We tried to build our house, and they said, no, you have to have, you're blocking Mrs. Bush at the time. And we said that, okay, we got with her and we purchased that land from her, so we were not landlocking her. We even mentioned to her, before she sold this to us, saying that you're locking the person behind you, which is Mrs. Bush's sister, and she said, that's not my concern.
Excuse me. I'm sorry to interrupt
I know,
you, but
I know.
before you get too far, could you please point out on the map which parcel is yours to help me visualize?
8. I don't,
Go back. Yeah, nope.
it's this piece up here that's connected to 46.
Where it says
Lot 8.
415.
Right above the crosshatch.
Right, yes, where it says 415 West State Road 46.
Okay, thank you.
I'm shaking like a leaf because I've never done this before.
We don't bite. It's okay.
Well, he does.
He asked 2 questions.
So our concern is that the property is landlocked, so I'm not sure how she can build on, or them, whoever they are, on a 1-acre lot that's landlocked. Because they tried to sell it to us before, and we didn't want to purchase any more acreage
So-
because that land is locked.
Are you objecting because you believe the rules are not being followed in the same way, or are you objecting because of something aesthetically or something like that?
I'm objecting because the rules aren't being followed as far as the egress and egress to get to the land.
If I might interrupt, I'm sorry. In order for them to get a building permit, they will have to prove that they have proper access onto that easement of Cloverdale. So they would need to establish that. That's not part of like what the variance is for.
So they still have to go through all the stuff. We just say yes or no, and then we don't have final. They still have to go through, like she said, the entire process. It doesn't, we don't have any control over that. That's just something that we just say initially yes or no to it, and then they still have to go through everything.
Okay. All right. Okay.
Okay. Does that conclude your presentation, ma'am?
Yeah, yes, sir, it does.
Okay, no problem.
Thank you.
Is there anybody else to speak? Yes, come on down, please.
Mr. Chair, after the opposition, it looks like the homeowner wants to rebuttal.
Don Giffen, 128 Cloverdale Trail, Geneva, Florida, 32732. Cloverdale Trail is an easement. It's privately owned road. The county has not done that. I've lived there since 99, okay? I bought my property in 1999. It is overgrown because it had basically me and my neighbor for 20-some-odd years. Another house is bringing more cars down a one-lane road that's zoned for A5, which I have a landscaping business. My neighbor that dead ends into Cloverdale Trail has a woodworking business. We both haul trailers in and out of there on a quite frequent basis. It's a one-lane road. Emergency vehicles cannot get down that road. We don't need any more traffic, any more cars on that road until the easement is addressed. I understand it's a private easement, and it's owned by the property owners, I guess. But something has to be done before another house is built in there, and 3 or 4 more cars are traveling up and down that road. If we have a medical emergency or something of that sort, a fire, whatever it may be, the road's impassable. And the more cars that reside on that road makes it all that much more so, difficult, whatever you might say. And I don't care if they build a house there. That's not, but the road needs to be addressed, and the woman that is on State Road 446 has encroached into that with her fence. It's supposed to be a 25-foot easement off the power line, and it's nowhere close to that, not even close. And the more, and are we setting a precedent? Because there's 70 acres right across Cloverdale Trail, which has been cleared, and now are we going to let them all build on 1 acre when it's A5? Are we setting a precedent here? Or I just feel that we're opening the door to a lot of things, and especially the road Cloverdale Trail. I know it's a private road. It's supposed to be owned by the residents. The county has done nothing for it in 20 years. The power company, the lines are caught, there's been many a fire on the power lines because the trees are overgrown. FPL doesn't seem to really give a you-know-what about it. So that's the only thing I'm worried about.
Okay, thank you. Okay, is there anyone else that would like to speak? Okay, come on.
Do you mind if we ask her what capacity she's representing? She's not here.
To address a couple of their concerns about easement, I've been working on this property for 3.5 years. Mr. Greer went ahead and hired an attorney, a real estate attorney, back maybe 2 years ago. And we just had a survey completed that's granting this property easement. So it does have easement access to State Route 46. I'm not going to list a property and put a property on the market if it doesn't have access to the state road. I'd be more than happy to email you guys a copy of this. Or I'll just give you this one, if that will make you feel content. And as for the lot research, we didn't do a lot research for the buyer, the potential buyer. He's going to purchase this property to put a home up for a family member. We did not go to the county for the lot research until we had the survey granting the easement. So if there's any other questions or concerns, I mean, I live in Geneva too. I'd be more than happy to meet with you guys.
Well, hold on.
Do you want these?
Hold on. So if you want to have a conversation with them before we vote, we're going to have to continue this to the next meeting so y'all can meet. Otherwise, we don't have to vote on it.
Otherwise, we have to vote.
What's that? Okay.
Mr. Chair?
Yeah, we have to, unless you want a continuance so y'all can discuss it, we're going to vote tonight one way or the other, and then somebody can, either side could appeal if whoever doesn't like it.
Okay.
Okay?
Would you like?
I'm all in favor of applicants working it out with the neighbors and stuff. We love that, but we would have to continue it.
And as you're the applicant, you're the only one that can make that decision.
She's the applicant's
Then I'd like for you to
Representative.
proceed.
Representative.
I'd like for you to proceed.
Okay.
Okay.
Mr. Chair?
Yes, sir.
Question for staff.
Yes.
Do we have confidence in research that this lot split is a lawful lot split and was done at a time before the Land Development Code was amended?
So there has been lots of research on it. The lot split, so the parent parcel was a 2-acre piece. In 1978, there was lot 7, 7A, 8, and AA, and they were traded back and forth between families with
I'm
quick
sorry,
claim
was that back in
deeds.
the days when you could do a one-time split as of right?
I mean, still to this day, you can still do a one-time split, assuming that the lot existed the way that it did when our subdivision regulations started, assuming it also meets other criteria. But in 1978, the properties, the way that they existed, it was a 2-acre piece for these lot 7, which is the 124 Cloverdale that has the house on it that we granted a building permit to, with it being .9 something of an acre. In 1986, we granted a building permit for it at that time. And this 1-acre parcel that's subject to tonight's consideration is what was left of that. At the time, I can't say that I did find where it was lawfully split. However, because the A3, A5, and A10 zoning district didn't exist until 1991, it would have been zoned A1, which is 1 acre. So had they come in and lawfully done it at that time, yes, it would have been granted. So that's why we are requiring them to come in and do this variance in order to put an officialization to it so that they can build.
I'm just curious.
Now, today.
Yeah, I'm just curious about the creation of the lot, whether, and I guess that's if someone wants to go fight that, they can go fight that. Yeah, it's, I don't know.
Okay.
Thank you, though. That
You're
answers.
welcome.
Yeah, that's helpful.
Okay. Do we have a motion?
Mr. Chair,
Yes.
I'd like to make, if anything, for discussion purposes, a motion to approve.
Okay, we have a motion to approve for discussion purposes. All right. Do we have a second?
I'll second that.
All right, what is your discussion, sir?
The thought that pops into my head is, there's lots of stuff out there people can fuss and argue about, and fairly. And I understand the concerns. I mean, I'm born and raised in Seminole County. But I think the question before us tonight is, and y'all tell me if you disagree, and I'm reading from my notes here, is that whether or not we should recognize this lot that was created before the Land Development Code was amended to create the rural area. And I think that's a fundamental fairness issue. This lot, whether someone can build on it and whether it can be accessed, that's not before us. The impact on its neighbors is not before us. The only thing that's before us is this lot properly created before the Land Development Code was amended? And I just feel like the answer to that is yes. And so that's just my thought process, and I could be wrong, and my ears are wide open.
Okay? Any thoughts, discussion? I'm sorry. Discussion to the floor is now closed. I'm sorry.
I mean, I see what he's saying, I kind of agree, it's just that there's many times when you start off with this isn't about he said, she said, and he said what, with that, but it's voting on what's in front of us, because there's a lot of things that we can't vote on, like, was it done rightly? Is it done before et cetera, so I agree with what he's saying.
Okay.
I think what you understand is that this was an allowable 1 acre lot before the 5 acre requirement occurred.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
that's what Steph's telling us.
And they called grandfathered?
Yes.
Right, well, it sounds to me like it's not clear where the division in the records, how it got split, and so they want to formalize it so that there's no issue later.
So there's the underlying issue.
Right.
It's not our problem today.
Right.
Right.
Correct.
Right.
That would be, it's more of that'd probably be a site development issues. Do they have access? What can they put there?
Yeah, once the building department gets a hold of it, that's a whole other conversation.
Which is out of us, yep.
Any other discussion? We have a motion to approve, we have a second. All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed?
No.
Okay. The motion carries 4-1. Okay, so it's approved. You have 15 days to file an appeal to the Board of County Commissioners. Staff can help you do that, okay? Good luck to you.
You're not concerned about public safety? People that are beyond that property, in a one-lane road down there?
Sir, that's an issue you can take up with Site Development and the Building Department. This hearing's closed for today. Okay. All right, minutes.
Thank you, gentlemen. Have a Merry Christmas.
All right, good luck to you.
It's like if you see a fall.
Okay, any additions, changes, deletions to the minutes? I believe they were all emailed out. Or was emailed out.
Move to approve?
Motion to approve, we have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor of approving the minutes, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? It's approved.
Who's
All right,
second?
what else do we have for the good of the order?
For the record, Jalia Moreno, BOA clerk. The
I'm sorry,
calendar.
I can't hear you.
For the record, Jalia Moreno, BOA clerk. We have the calendar 2024 for approval.
Yes.
The May meeting is going to be changed either for May 20 or June 3rd.
Okay.
That's for you guys' discretion.
Memorial Day.
Yes.
Yeah.
Cross the bridge when we
What
come
do
to
y'all
it.
want?
May 20, if I could.
May 20th?
Fine by me.
Sure.
All right. All in favor of approving the minutes with the change to May 20th? Say aye.
Aye.
It's approved. All right, what else you got? That was easy.
I have some good news.
The Board of County Commissioners supported the Board of Adjustments' decision in denying a variance. This was at 149 Academy Oaks. This was the gentleman who built the shed without a permit, and his neighbor came in opposition of it, and it went before the Board of County Commissioners, and they supported the BOA's decision.
Okay,
Thanks.
that was nice. All right, anything else?
Yeah, before you bang that gavel, are you definitely sure this is your last
This
meeting?
is my last meeting. I talked to Amy Lockhart, and I told her I am not seeking reappointment. It's been 12 years. I'm retiring in 8 months from the sheriff's office. I have promised my wife I will free up my schedule to spend time with her.
We're going to miss you. You've been great.
Yeah, you've been awesome, Bernard.
I really enjoy this, actually. I've done this for 12 years, because I definitely have not disliked it. I would not have done it for free for 12 years.
And all those that oppose?
Veto. Out of order. But I really appreciate all of y'all.
All right.
Seriously.
We're
If I
gonna
can
miss
ever
you.
do anything for you, let me know.
Well, let's do this by the book. Mr. Chair, I make a motion to recognize in appreciation of your 12 years of service to the Board of Adjustment.
Into the
So
county.
moved.
Thank you.
All in that favor, say aye.
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 Thank you. I really appreciate it. And I've met some great people, including starting with his dad, who did this for, near as we can figure, like almost 30 years. It's crazy.
He loves you to
Keep
death,
it in the
too.
family,
Yeah.
buddy. Keep it.
All right, well, y'all have a great night and a Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
We're adjourned. The only thing I don't need a motion for